Like, this is your biological grandchild, this is your son's child, and he had her name tattooed on his face.
On his face,
Did he ever tell you that her legal name was Skylar?
No.
The dirty people couldn't even take the condom and throw it away.
If you find a condom in the car.
So wait.
I showed you.
It was a dirty condom?
It was a dirty condom. It wasn't just a pack
I don't agree with that because I didn't see it. He didn't show me nothing. He showed me a box.
Ms. Hadel, did you try to catfish her, Mr. Wilson?
No. Lies. All the way around. I'm sexy. Why I need to catfish somebody?
Right.
Is you serious?
Mr. Mason has been on paternity court before, and in that appearance, he proved that the defendant's 1-year-old daughter was not his child. He is here again questioning the paternity of the same defendant's 5-year-old son, Ace. Ms. Malone is certain that Ace is Mr. Mason's child and plans to prove it today.
Mr. Mason, tell me why you are here for the second time again in court.
I'm here for the second time, Your Honor, because I feel like still that Ace is not my child. I feel like that it's impossible to get a DNA for a child that's unborn just from a swab of the mother.
Ms. Malone had previously given Mr. Mason a prenatal DNA test that proved that Ace belonged to him. However, Mr. Mason thinks that pure witchery and it's scientifically impossible to get a DNA test done on a child that is yet to be born. I am not quite sure the scientific community agrees with that, but Mr. Mason is the one in court here, so we will let him talk his talk.
I'm listening to your case because I want to understand why you don't believe the results. So I ordered a new paternity test just for you. So you believe that the mother was swabbed and it's impossible to tell the DNA or the paternity of an unborn child?
Yes, Your Honor.
What other reason do you have?
Every time I held Ace, it's like all he did was just cry.
Mr. Mason says when he looks at Ace, he does not see himself, and there is no connection with him. That may be true, but it is certainly not evidence that Ace is not his child. Some kids don't even look like either parent. Now, Mr. Mason thinks that the child belongs to Miss Malone's fiancé, Mr. Haynes.
Mr. Haynes is Ace's biological father.
Yes, Your Honor, I believe Mr. Haynes is the father.
Why?
Because when I'm over there visiting my other kids with Miss Malone, she'll
feels like
she'll
that
have
they got a
Ace,
bond.
Ace will be crying, and first person she'll give them to is Mr. Haynes. She'll be like, go to your daddy. If I was Ace's father.
So a lot is going on here. Ms. Malone does not treat Mr. Mason as her son's father, but she insists that this is because Mr. Mason does not want to be the father of the child. Well, that is one argument the results of a DNA test can clear up quickly. Mr. Malone says there is no chance that Mr. Haynes is Ace's father because she met him after she was pregnant, but Mr. Mason does not believe that.
You didn't even know her when she was pregnant?
No.
Never known anything about each other.
So you don't believe that to be true, Mr. Mason?
No, ma'am. I feel like...
Why don't you believe it?
Because if that was the case, Your Honor, when I was in the hospital when she gave birth to Ace, she had put my name on the birth certificate.
However, Ms. Malone claims that Mr. Mason was never on the real birth certificate, and that the certificate Mr. Mason presented is a dud since it's not an official one. She says that nobody signed to be Ace's father on his actual birth certificate, and the boy legally has no father. But here is the thing. If Ms. Malone was so sure that Mr. Mason was the real father, why didn't she put his name on the certificate?
Put somebody else's name
He
in
wasn't
that.
acting like one. Mr. Haynes acted like more of a father than Mr. Mason did. He was there.
So you're saying it was a statement that this is the man that's acting like Ace's real father?
Yes, ma'am. And he act like he didn't want it. Be on the birth certificate. So
Mr. Mason says he has never been given the chance to be a father to Ace, but Ms. Malone and Mr. Haynes disagree.
Lately gave me the chance at
Hold
all.
on, technically she
At
has
all.
gave him the chance. He never
She's
picked up
never
Ace when
gave me the chance.
whenever he came
whenever
over.
he came and
Whenever he
visit,
came over,
it was always about my
the daughter.
2-year-old.
Ever since she's been with Mr. Haynes, it's always just been about her and Mr. Haynes.
Well, that kind of sounds like the truth. Mr. Mason's reasons for thinking the child is not his simply do not add up. The fact that she claims she did a DNA test for the child in the womb and he refused the results is another large red flag. If she really did the test, then this case has been solved a long while ago. However, Mr. Mason has one more reason for believing Ace is not his.
Even when we was in the hospital before Ace was even born, she was sending ultrasound pictures
No, I
to
was not, Your
another
Honor.
person.
I do not recall that.
You were sending pictures to another person.
I do not recall that.
And this is before Ace was born or after?
It was before.
Ms. Malone completely denies doing this, but Mr. Mason insists it's the truth. Well, it is time to see who the father is by checking out the DNA test.
Mr. Mason, you are the father. Again.
No, that's your son. You need to just Start taking care of your son.
And I'm
Start
going
bonding
the
with your
same-
son.
The same way I do with the other two.
Okay.
The same way I do with
And
the
I
other
hold you
two.
to that.
That means my name's
And I
got to
hold
go
you
on
to
that
that.
birth certificate and his name's coming off tomorrow.
No problem.
Ms. Hoddle says that she broke up with Mr. Andrews just 3 months ago and is now petitioning the court to prove that he's the father of her child, Amarella. Mr. Andrews, on the other hand, says that Ms. Hoddle is a serious cheater and he is sure that he isn't the father. But it turns out that Mr. Andrews might be the serial cheater here.
He pregnated another female while he was living with me. So I moved to Kansas and got away from him. We then started our relationship back, and I had planned on having another child with him. So I did get pregnant. Amarella came, and I think the doubts came because she looks different than our other child.
They have another child together, and Mr. Andrews refers to that child as his, but doesn't call Amarella his child. And Mr. Andrews has a bunch of reasons for doing this. In fact, he has a whole chart. That's right, our man means business.
This got to be his baby.
What did you read in them?
I let you have it anytime. And now you chicken, you scared to come over.
Miss Hadel, is that what these text messages
No.
said?
I can't tell you word for word. It was
I know
sexual.
word for word.
I bet he does know word for word, but I don't, so I'm not going to disagree. But anyhow.
Was this a man you've been intimate with?
Oh, so now we are getting somewhere. Mr. Hoddle did in fact cheat on Mr. Andrews. Let's move on to the next piece of evidence.
You jumped out of the window at 3 a.m.
Correct.
Who jumped out the window?
She did.
I was trying to get free from him.
But see, the whole
He's
thing
crazy.
is, she leave the house every time. It's always when a private call come, or it's after 3 a.m. That's the only time he able to get away from his wife, so-called.
What?
That's it.
Wait a minute. So she gets a private call.
Right.
Then she leaves the house.
Nothing. Absolutely nothing. Ms. Hoddle says the reason why she jumped out the window was because Mr. Andrews was barricading her front door. You might ask where she was going at 3 a.m., and the answer would shock you.
I couldn't walk out my front door because he was barricading my front door.
Where were you going?
I was going to find comfort.
Guess she told you?
I already knew this.
So you got a smile on your face, but you're in paternity court.
I am. I would like for him to get this during the
Did she
time that
think-
Amarella was conceived.
But hold on a minute, Ms. Hoddle. How are you a good woman and still flying out the window at 3 a.m. to find comfort?
On the phone with men, getting text messages, going out, finding comfort, flying out the window at 3 a.m.
This was after 7.5 years. Like, this stuff built up. It was more or less, you're doing this to me. I'm gonna do it back to you.
Listen, you all have been together on and off for 8 years.
However, Mr. Andrews isn't innocent either. During those 11 years, he's had 3 other kids outside the relationship. Not 1, not 2, but 3. But we aren't done with the reasons Mr. Andrews listed.
Found a condom
So at
in the
least
car.
I was using protection and it ain't no one
Do
else.
that. But she know I'm the one who take my daughter to daycare every morning. I'm the one get the dress, take daycare every morning. Little dirty people couldn't even take the condom and throw it away.
If you find a condom in the car.
So
Ain't no
wait,
if. I showed you.
it was a dirty
It
condom?
was dirty condom. It wasn't just a pack
I
condom.
don't agree with that because I didn't see it. He didn't show me nothing.
Well, I'm sure that makes a world of difference, right? And then we've got the last reason.
4 months ago, Ms. Hadel told me about 2 other potential fathers.
Correct.
Really?
And out of spite, she just go to run in her mouth, and when she get mad, she'll tell on herself.
He's full of it. But
And
I
then
apologize, Your Honor.
She told me 2 other men was daddy.
His mouth,
which
from the
I was
time I
already-
wake up in
which
the
I was
morning
already
till the time I
assuming
go
from
to
the
sleep,
get-go
does
anyway.
not
I was already
stop, and all he does
physically
all
abusive,
damn
though.
day is talk,
I don't
talk,
put my
talk,
hands
talk.
on
Ms. Hoddle better hope that Mr. Andrews is the father of Amarella because she's going to have to get used to finding that comfort. Ms. Hoddle says that Mr. Andrews was just listing off the names of men she had an affair with as the father of Amarella, and she just agreed with him because that was what he wanted to hear.
There is no potential. He's the only one. As I stated, May 2014, when I got with him again, as in, let's work it out, we were planning
How you
to
figure- how you
have a
figure that? How
child
you figure that?
because
When you told
I
the guy
wanted a
anytime.
boy.
Why you figure-
So
how you
why
figure that?
wouldn't
Because you told the guy
why would
anytime.
I sleep around
It's true.
with
You
other
was.
people if I'm in love with him and I'm trying to make it work?
No, you wasn't. You was
And
loving
so,
the other guy.
okay,
Ms. Hoddle and Mr. Andrews continue arguing, and even Judge Lake gets tired of it.
I know one thing. You all sound like you're like 16 years old.
Trust me, I know.
Arguing back and forth, and you got these little beautiful children. Beautiful. And from what I'm saying, I don't even know how you have time to make babies because you don't stop talking. If you're doing this in here, I can only imagine what you're doing at home.
That's why he's not in my home no more.
That's why I left the home.
No, he would not leave.
It ain't just your home. It was mine too, fool.
And it somehow gets even worse. You could think Ms. Haddle is a horrible person for cheating that many times, but Mr. Andrews is also quite the cheater as well.
So 8 months pregnant, I find out there's another female pregnant in the same town that we're living in. I'm about to give birth a month later. He was there, got to see this first child born out of whatever 6 or 7 children that he does have. This is the first child that he got to see born. So that was very special for him and me as well, having him there. He was there the whole pregnancy,
An affair while she was pregnant, and Mr. Andrews is serious about this.
Repeat that testimony.
I was getting text messages from guys.
You were.
She was.
Were you or was she?
She.
So you were looking at her phone
Yes.
and she was getting text messages from guys.
Yes, Your Honor.
Saying what?
Where you at? Can I see you? The sexual things.
All this while she's pregnant.
Yep.
This is just too much. At this point, you kind of wish none of them were Amarella's parents because this is such a toxic union. Let's see what the DNA test results have to say about all of this.
Mr. Andrews, you are the father. You have tears in your eyes. How do you feel in this moment?
I love her regardless. It's my daughter, so it didn't make me no difference if I was or wasn't. I just wanted to prove.
Oh, it didn't?
Yes, it did.
I'm tired of you talking in circles, Mr. Andrews.
Ms. Kiles is in court today to prove that Ms. Light's deceased son, James, is the father of her 14-month-old daughter, Eva. She says she knows that Ms. Lights is in pain due to the loss of her son, but says she is also in pain because her daughter has no link to his paternal family yet. Ms. Light, on the other hand, says that Ms. Kiles is a pathological liar, and as much as she would want a part of her son to remain, she does not trust that Ms. Kiles is telling the truth.
Miss Light isn't the only one that's hurt. I'm hurt too. That's my child's father. She wasn't a mistake. We planned her, and me and him was together. That was my boyfriend, and I loved him. He loved me, and he loved his daughter. We were his family, so I understand she's hurting. That's her son, but me and Ava are hurting too.
That is touching, but Ms. Lights does not believe a word out of Ms. Kiles' mouth. She says she loves Ava and has formed a bond with the child. She says her son was raising Ava, and if she wasn't with James, baby Ava was with her. But there is just one tiny little itty-bitty thing.
The doubt is still eating away at you.
It's killing me. It was just a lot going on. He came to me so many times. Her, after he moved her to Oklahoma and got everything furnished, another man answered the phone and tried to claim to be Ava's father and be in her life now and all this other stuff.
That's why.
Oh, that is a lot. There has got to be something there. If another man is claiming the child even before she is born, you know there is trouble brewing. But Ms. Kiles insists that nothing like this ever happened. She is quite certain of this, actually.
Me and James never had any fights or arguments about any females, any males. I was hormonal. I was going through a lot. I was stressful. Our arguments never been about other people in our relationship.
And so why would he make this up with his mother? I mean, what motive would he have to?
Because he was mad because I wasn't letting him around me when I was pregnant with her.
So Ms. Kiles argues that James just made all of this up because she did not want to deal with him. That is a brave argument to make, especially if there is a chance that this child might belong to someone else. According to Ms. Light, Ms. Kiles kicked James out of her home when she got pregnant, which is sort of a weird thing to do to someone who is going to be your baby's daddy, right? But Ms. Kiles disagrees.
He got mad because I don't like everybody in my house. He brought some other guy with him to my house. I told him I don't want anybody in my house. My child is, I'm irritated right now, and I have my 2-year-old here. I don't want anybody in my house. He furnished the house. He can bring whoever he wanted here. I said, no, you can't. This is still my house. My name is on the lease.
So Ms. Kiles claims that all the arguments she had with James were domestic and not really about any other man or woman getting in between them. Ms. Kiles then says that she did not call James for the birth of his child for the same reason, while Ms. Light insists that James would have wanted to be there. Ms. Light takes this as another indication that James did not believe the baby was his, while Ms. Kiles says he was absent because she didn't want him there. And then she drops this bombshell.
I decided to give Ava away to a family member, and she named Ava Skylar.
Why are we calling her Ava?
Because that's the name that me and James wanted to name her.
Okay.
She took her back to Chicago. A week later, I wanted my baby back. She didn't want to give her to me, so I had to call my mother to get her back.
And as you may expect, this sounds very, very suspicious to Ms. Light.
Not knowing his baby's biological name. Because my son had tatted on his face, Ava Jashay. My son would have told me something. My son would have got the baby's name changed if he had known.
We couldn't get her name changed because we were living in Oklahoma. They said we had to wait till she turned 1 year old to get her name changed. He died in May. Her birthday was in August.
This is very hard for Ms. Light to handle. The only way to get to the bottom of this is to figure out what the DNA test has for us and be thankful Judge Lake here has the results.
The percentage of relatedness between Ms. Light and Skylar Ava is 99%. You are related.
Oh, thank you. We can do what we gotta do and get her name.
I'm very happy I could deliver this result today.
Thank you.
Ms. McIntyre is in court today, with her mom claiming that Mr. Wilson here catfished her and is now denying being the father of her 3-year-old son, Jayshawn. She says the only reason he has doubts is because he wants to live a single life. However, Mr. Wilson says that he has more evidence than the court has ever seen proving that Ms. McIntyre cheated on him numerous times, so he isn't her baby's father. First, let's talk a bit about this catfishing business.
You are not her son's father, is that correct?
Yes, Your Honor.
Ms. McIntyre, how did this relationship begin?
We was talking on Facebook. He shared a couple of pictures with me. He shared a picture like this. I thought he was very cute. He said he was gonna take care of me and my daughter.
On Facebook, he was already gonna take care of you and your daughter?
Yeah, he sold me a dream.
If someone who's never seen you before starts making incredible promises on Facebook, you should probably avoid them. But Ms. McIntyre fell for Mr. Wilson's lies. And on the day she was eventually supposed to meet him, she found something else out.
So we finally wanted to meet up, and when he got off the bus, I seen this. He catfished me. I didn't know, I didn't expect this, no. I did not expect this getting off the bus, no. I wanted him to go back. I did not expect this at all. No, I did not.
Bring up that other picture.
From this picture to this picture, no, I did not, no.
Well, no buyer's remorse here, Ms. McIntyre. That's part of the risks of flirting on the internet. Now, despite Ms. McIntyre not getting the package she ordered, she still got into bed with Mr. Wilson. So she wasn't that disappointed with what he was bringing to the table. Anyway, Mr. Wilson says he has absolutely no need to catfish anyone.
Did you try to catfish her, Mr. Wilson?
No. Lies. All the way around. I'm sexy. Why I need to catfish somebody?
Right.
Is you serious? Okay, lies.
Really?
Really. You saw what you saw. You felt to go with what you wanted to see. Okay.
Oh my goodness.
And then, bam, you found yourself in paternity court. That's just how it happens. Mr. Wilson says he isn't here to deny his baby, but he says he cannot trust McIntyre because she sleeps around so much. Ms. McIntyre says she's beyond certain he is, and here's her reason.
Ms. McIntyre, how certain are you that
100%
Mr. Wilson is Jayshawn's father?
100% sure. Why would I want to claim him as my baby dad?
So wait, I need to understand, what in the world were you all doing? I mean, you meet on Facebook, you all get together. Did you decide to be girlfriend and boyfriend?
Let's skip to this evidence that Mr. Wilson says he has about Ms. McIntyre cheating. First, he says that Ms. McIntyre only called him to the hospital after she gave birth and that he wasn't there for the birth. Ms. McIntyre also didn't put his name on the birth certificate and didn't give Jayshawn Mr. Wilson's last name either.
Supposedly, I got texts that somebody that I personally knew face to face was messing around with Ms. McIntyre around the same time I was messing around with Ms. McIntyre.
So do you have that proof here?
Okay, then, hold on, not only
You have that proof here? No.
Not only that though, my thing is this, not only that, I have called Ms. McIntyre in her phone.
Those are strong allegations. Mr. Wilson says he asked Ms. McIntyre if all of this was true, and she denied all of it. Then later she came around and said that she was offering those favors because she needed money. And that's when Mr. Wilson started super cheating.
I went hard for I put myself in bad situations for this girl right here. You feel me? So yeah, I was hurt. So I went out there, I was super cheating. You know what I'm saying? I served.
Yeah.
Super cheating.
When you come back,
I was super cheating.
With two transies, right?
I was super cheating.
You feel me? You come back with two transies, right?
Super sleep. I was cheating with everybody.
Well, at least Mr. Wilson here is being honest. Anyway, Ms. McIntyre wants us to know that Mr. Wilson was doing it to anyone and everyone willing to lie down.
Anybody, to be honest with you, I'm gonna be real with you. Because at the point, I'm like, all right, this relationship ain't not going
nowhere. Because super cheating.
Yeah, super, I'm gonna say super cheating.
It's elevated.
Yeah, I'm being honest with you. That was
So you were just sleeping with anybody?
And everybody.
That's scary.
Anybody, boys, girls, whatever, transies, all that.
As long as you're happy, Mr. Wilson. As long as you're happy. But Mr. Wilson has even more evidence of impropriety from Ms. McIntyre.
Ms. McIntyre left me for like 4 or 5 months. She went MIA, unseen, unnoticed. Ms. McIntyre was nowhere to be found, so what I'm supposed to do?
What do you mean she was nowhere to be found?
When I say nowhere to be found, I mean...
I
tried to reach her. I tried to contact her.
I left because
I got no research, none of that.
That's the reason why I left him for the 4th. Yes, I did. I don't want to be bothered with that.
And yes, we finally got to the evidence that Mr. Wilson says he has. And that evidence is a board, a calendar, and stickers of ghosts. He's using those stickers to show us the months that Ms. McIntyre was missing in action. For some weird reason, this is supposed to prove that Jay Sean isn't his baby.
That's June. That's another time. I'm
So
like,
the ghost means she's missing in action.
missing in action.
Once
Nowhere to be
pregnant,
found.
yeah.
Nowhere to be found.
None of that.
Can't see her.
Can't
Where
see
were
her.
you staying?
I done moved on.
Where were you staying?
Found somebody else to be with.
Your ghost fell again.
His
and all
ghost
that.
is falling, Your Honor,
Okay.
and one is upside down.
And
That should
then-
tell you something about it.
Okay, Mr. Wilson, that was spectacular. It made no sense, but it was spectacular. But let's see him make his point.
So Jay Sean was born in October. Green, it says Miss McIntyre conceives the baby. But you said when you first stepped up to your exhibit that you didn't think that you all really started having sex until after your birthday.
After my birthday, because we were still filling each other out. You know what I'm saying? We didn't know if we was gonna be with each other, if we was just gonna play around.
So you're saying if she's pregnant with your child, where in the world is she for 4 full months?
Well, I think we've seen enough. It's time to know for sure who's the father of Jay Sean. Is it Mr. Wilson here? Or has Ms. McIntyre been lying to us the whole time?
Mr. Wilson, you are his father.
Told you. Told
That's
you.
all I needed to know.
Told you ought to be ashamed.
That's all I needed to know.
You ought to be ashamed.
I needed to know that. That's my
Mr.
thing.
Charisma.
I needed to know that.
Hold on, we starting off wrong.